My Alien Life Podcast.
Damn it. It's a Wednesday night. Is it Wednesday already? Wow. This is My Alien Life Podcast, and of course, I'm your host, Cameron Logan, and calling tonight. This is our generic alien show, and just a generic extraterrestrial show. Joining me tonight is the resident alien and a surprise guest. When's our surprise? Is our surprise guest waiting in the green room? Okay. All right. Just want to make sure I know what's going on. I'm the last one to know. That's Cassidy Lightwing there on the right-hand side. Nice to see you. How are you? All right. So this is also, again, the Patreon episode because, My Alien Life is a podcast for those who have a story to tell. And I always wish I could get to everybody because I always hear stories from all over the universe. And but just for a minute, I want to take just a little time to talk about Patreon. What is Patreon? Think of it as an online tip jar. Patreon is a website that gives everyone in the world and the universe an opportunity to become a patron and support the artists they believe in. The great thing about Patreon is that you get to decide how much you feel comfortable contributing to each podcast. As you know, some weeks I get a burst of energy and I want to produce lots of new content. It's expensive to make a podcast, and there's electronic gear, web domain fees, web hosting fees, and more. I've done t-shirts. There's postage stamps. We make tinfoil hats. Produce alien assault spray and much more. And remember, shit breaks. So no matter what you decide, please always listen to the podcast. That's what I really want. We're a team, and your support is what keeps me going. And thank you for being amazing. And keep listening to My Alien Life Podcast. This is Cameron Logan, and this is Patreon. Also, you can check out the podcast, all the latest and the newest, at www.myalienlifepodcast.com. And it's usually available on Twitter. I'm sorry, not Twitter, Spotify, but it's going to be on Twitter and Instagram and wherever else we can put that on. But so what we've had lately happen, and I know that I've been bugging people about needing money for quite some time. Had a computer problem, have this stellar computer that my generous supporters have provided me. And it's a replacement for my old iMac 27-inch. And I need a 27-inch iMac because there's a lot of things going on at the same time on the computer screen. But, to avoid all the BS about applications and computer software and whatever, I'll just try to cut to the chase. GarageBand, I live and die by GarageBand, and it's a free application that's available on all Macs, usually. And they have to be of a certain age, and they have to be older than 2015. Well, unfortunately, I didn't quite make the cut with my computer choice. Obviously, we're able to do whatever we want live, which is nice, but there's some creative processes that go on behind putting this thing together, and music, and also putting the audio version on every platform on the internet. So that's super huge and super important, and that's what we're missing here. So I've had many inquiries from listeners who are wondering why they can't listen on Spotify, why they can't listen on Spreaker and wherever else, Apple Podcasts. It's because we're doing video, and it's basically right now on YouTube, and then we can actually put that on Podbean. But unfortunately, Podbean does not allow us to do video and have that automatically uploaded to Apple, uploaded to Spotify, and wherever you listen to find podcasts. So um, right now I'm kind of between a rock and a hole in the ground. So if you check out, I believe if you check out the notes on this podcast, you can go to my Patreon page. It's not quite finished yet. Um, a lot of people set up tiers, and if you give this amount of money, you get this. It's very apparent that people that listen to me don't want anything other than podcasts. They don't want T-shirts. They don't want. I mean, I've given away. I have no idea how many T-shirts I've given away. Um, the coolest thing that I ever saw happen was one of my listeners was getting baptized in one of my T-shirts, and that was so cool. That was cool. Love that. So check out my Patreon page. The show needs money to keep going. I need GarageBand. I'm figuring I might have to do a little shuffling of the electronics and get rid of this latest computer that I acquired. And thank you, everybody. I mean, basically, I can get back what I got, what I'm into the computer, so that's fine. I probably need between $800 and $1,000. Realistically, what I've been doing, I was graciously given upwards about $450, $500 by listeners. Last time when I had exactly no computer. So thank you very much, everybody who was involved, and I appreciate that. And, I'm not asking those people who had already given money, but of course we had premiums as well. I gave a lot of stuff away, including a Metallica, a symbol that was signed by the drummer of Metallica, which was cool. And that guy won. Troy, who won that, donated $5. So that was really, really cool. So he got a really, really nice item for $5. And I had somebody give me $150. Jackie Klebe, who's one of my listeners, very generous lady, and gave me money. And so I need money. Please, I need money. Please send me money through Patreon. I also accept Venmo and all the other PayPal and whatever else. But so I really can't keep the show going without it. I mean, it's Christmas time. I don't expect anybody to dig deep in their pockets for that. But it is what it is, and I hate to even mention that. But people are fairly generous, and we kind of want to take this to a new level. Video really doesn't cost us anymore. It's free, but I want to do video plus the audio, and really to keep the audio going. People really, really love to listen to it in their cars and whatever, so that's really cool. And I appreciate. I see Mary Lou is on. Sharon, CA8. Whoever that is, there's the lion. Of course, he's right in my face. And so it's good to see him again. Cassidy Lightwing, how are you?
I am very good, recovering very well. Happy to be alive.
You guys had COVID.
Yeah, we did. The whole house had COVID, everybody but Shar.
Yeah. Mary Lou and Sharon asked me some questions, and whoever else is on. I don't know who C88 is, E8AC. I mean, obviously that means something, but I'm not sure. Let me know what that means. So how many days? You guys are a little over a week, right? COVID?
Actually, we're almost to the end of our quarantine. We actually contracted COVID near the beginning of the month. It's one of the
Right.
reasons why the show was slowing down on my end.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. COVID sucks, man. I mean, I don't know. I have my own worries about that right now, and it's not actually about getting it. It's just, getting everybody well and fine. I can't really tell if it looks, we're live, and I'm hoping everything is working out with this live stream. I just see a spinning wheel on my monitor for YouTube, so I hope that doesn't mean. Okay. All right. So I think, it's this crappy computer that I have. Actually, I love it as far as what it's supposed to do, other than the GarageBand part. Um, All right. So, interesting week that I've had. It's super busy this week for everybody. Everybody's either right now at home in bed or they're in Costco or Walmart, which obviously I saw that, about 4:30 this afternoon. It's absolutely crazy. I took my son Christmas shopping, and I love him, and he's listening to me right now. And yeah, he's right. He's upstairs, but he can hear me. And but it's a blast. I love watching that. And it was the fastest Christmas shopping that he's ever done. So I was super proud that we accomplished that. We were able to get home quickly and before the real madness. And one of the things I hate worse about what makes Christmas shopping worse is when the weather is extremely bad, but it's super nice. Today, I don't know what it was like down in your neck of the woods, but here started out like 6 degrees, and by like 4 o'clock, the wind was blowing like 70, and it was like 45, and the snow melted and most of it dried up. So that was love it, love it.
I'm kind of glad we were in quarantine.
What's it like there right now? It's probably warmer there.
It's actually really nice. It's not terribly cold. We're
Colorado,
looking,
Denver.
yeah, we're looking at 49 degrees, so it's actually kind of a warm night for the
Nice,
time of year.
nice,
So
nice.
the weirdness out there is the difficult part.
It's really weird, extremely weird. I'd kind of like to, I don't really know how to successfully do this, but I like to browse Facebook while we're podcasting, and only because I want to. I mean, there's some stuff on here that I was looking at earlier today that I kind of wanted to talk about, but being that we're audio through Zoom and the internet, it also picks up um, whatever's being picked up on the audio that's on Facebook if somebody messages me, whatever. But there's just some really cool stuff. There's this guy, check him out. He's from Australia. His name is Kevin Parker, and I wouldn't call him an amateur astronomer, but he's even better than that. And you can look at my personal Facebook page, and I have a link there. But he's got some pictures of Comet C-2014 Q2 or Lovejoy, and just 2 nights ago, and it's just
Really?
outstanding. And I mean, the thing has got this green glow on its nose, and it's absolutely amazing. And I've never in my lifetime seen such beautiful photographs of a comet. And it's just incredible. And he's taken all kinds of pictures, and so it's super super neat to see somebody artistic enough to do that kind of thing. And that's one of the things that I would really like to do, but probably will not.
Well, BVS is an art studio. Let's see if we can work
It,
it out.
they do, but yeah, yeah, yeah. So tonight, a little different. I don't know if people can see the title of this live stream, but just a generic extraterrestrial show. Two aliens in the studio and one Earthling. So I'm the Earthling, obviously, and I'm gonna let you talk about our guest tonight, and just take 1 minute and tell us her name and a little bit about her, but don't give too much away, Cass. Thanks.
Well, our guest tonight is one Kristen Harding. If you're fans of music, you might have heard her music. She is a very special lady. She's a Christian minister, and she has quite a lot to say about not quite being from here. But she's way, way better at talking than Cassidy is. So she's very, very sweet, but don't tick her off too much. She's very
Yeah,
happy to
bring
answer questions.
bring her on, please.
She's waiting in the green room. You've got to let her in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's just Zoom.
I just got to hit the blue button.
And then she'll pop in, and then there she is.
Kristen, welcome. Oh, I recognize the face. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, thank you. So this is Kristen Harding. Where are you calling from, or where are you zooming from, ma'am?
Zooming from Minnesota,
Nice. We're at Minnesota. I have family there, and we're from there.
outside of the Twin Cities in Plymouth.
Nice, 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 nice. So, Cassidy was nice enough to fill me in slightly about who you are, um, which he didn't tell me much because usually I don't tell him anything about what's going on because he's always able to contribute, um, because he's smart and he knows a lot of stuff about a lot
I
of
have to
stuff.
agree.
So, what I haven't tested, I don't. I know he knows a lot about a lot of stuff, but does he know? You know, if he took one of those single things, does he know a lot about certain things and can talk about it for hours, or can he talk about lots and lots of things for hours and hours? Either
Right.
and or. So we'll find out. So I don't know how you want to start. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and don't be too specific. I kind of want to hear about your life a little bit and what you know and where you've been and how you became friends with Cassidy Lightwing.
Well, we can start there. Um, Back last year during the Lionsgate portal, which would have been right around the 25th of July, I had an unusual question that I posed to one of the groups that I was in. And I said, does anyone know anything about the Galactic Federation? It's a kind of an odd question, you know? So one person did, I won't mention any names, but one person did get back to me and they said, my friend Cassidy may be able to help you. And I said, okay. So I looked him up and he didn't look too scary. So I friend requested him and it was like I had contacted an old friend and we just kind of hit it off. And now we have a morning coffee show together and we've been working at that for over a year.
So I haven't checked that out with you two together. I mean, I stumble across it and I see it, but like I was telling Cass, you know, I used to have a lot more. Actually, I didn't have a lot more time. I was much busier when I used to listen to him, but I had a space where I was by myself, and now I share that space with other people. So um, we listen to music now.
Right.
Think we've
And,
cleaned up the show, I promise.
well,
Nice.
it's not that. It's
Well,
um,
you're being considerate and you're considering your partner's needs. That's kind.
well, and what I listen to other than music really may not be everybody's cup of tea. They kind of wonder. They kind of wonder about me. So, which is fine. But all right. So, as far, what are you into? I mean, there are so many people. Cass and I have talked that they're into aliens, they're into UFOs, they're into cryptids, they're into ghosts, they're into physics, and they're into astronomy, and they're into whatever. But any of those, did I hit any of the right buttons? And what do you like to study? And what would you consider yourself an expert in?
An expert in very few things.
Well, I mean, not, you
I
know.
am a singer, I am a songwriter, I'm an
Right.
artist.
Mhm.
I am a starseed. My soul originates on Pleiades. My planet of origin is Alcyone. That is where I understand the civilization that is, uh, in my memory anyway, where they reside. And I have a very old memory of coming to this world in a pod. And it sounds crazy, I know, but when I was very young, I looked up at the stars and I asked my grandmother what that constellation was specifically. You know, I wasn't looking at like the Big Dipper or Cassiopeia or anything like that. Was not very obvious. But I was like, "What's that?" And she said, "Well, that's the Pleiades. That's the seven sisters." I said, "That's where I'm from." And she said, "No, honey, you're from here. You were born in Kentucky." And I was like, "Yeah, now." But then, and she was like, she just let it go. She was just so cool, you know? And I kind of put that in my library of memories. And I didn't think about it much until I stumbled across a starseed quiz back in like the early 2000s. And I hit every single category. And so I did a little more research on it. And it is a bit at odds because I am a ordained Christian minister, but I also believe that Source created everything and man decides which is right and wrong. So I'm kind of open-minded when it comes to spirituality.
And thank
So
goodness.
if you're an ordained minister, do you believe is your version of creation include everything? I mean, everything that's out there, or is there some separations or some compartments of different parts of our universe that maybe don't fit into the Christian paradigm?
Well, I
A big question.
it is, and thank you for asking. Um, I believe I combine Christianity, but not religion, because I follow the message and not the the followings that people follow now. So I'm more of a Bible student who loves to perform weddings. So that's why originally I became ordained, because I was just feeling like Christianity was getting such a bum rap. And there are people out there that don't want to be preached to, but they still need to get married and they still want to have their babies baptized. And I just kind of fit that bill,
Christianity has always gotten a bum rap. Just ask Jesus.
right?
Yeah.
Indeed.
I mean, so, but that's the point, I guess, because um, it's really something that isn't automatically for everybody, but the word is there, and that's
Indeed.
where we have faith or don't have faith, and
Right.
faith is a big thing. It's a big jump, big leap.
And
Go ahead.
it is indeed a big leap. One of the things that Cass and I have talked about is that the Pleiadian soul doesn't consider faith as an option, it's an automatic. And in times in my life when I should have lost my faith, I didn't. And it was just like I may have put it on the back burner for a minute, but it was always there and it was always comforting, because I don't believe in a God that towers over you and has a little chalkboard and says, "Oh, you did something wrong today." And I don't believe that at all.
And I don't either, because obviously the word is forgiveness, and
Right?
it's part of the complete message. So there's obviously a disparity between geological time, universal time, and Christianity, which we've been many people have been led to believe Christianity is, or we are basically just a little over 4,000 years old. So there's a disparity between that and geological time as well as universal time. How do you explain that?
Well, do we really know how long a day was with God?
But if somebody had that question to you, um, and they really want a firm answer, it's hard to pin it down, I know, but what would you say?
I have a very different philosophy than probably a lot of Christian ministers would, but I believe that Adam was not the first man, but he was the first man that was of the earth, meaning he would care for it. And so the people that were there before him were certainly in existence. I mean, they were giants, for heaven's sakes, it's been proven. And that doesn't in any way change, if you really look at what it says, anything in the Bible. It just says that Adam was the first man. Well, if you look at that, Adam means man of the red earth, someone who would take care of the earth.
Cassidy Lightwing's got his hand raised.
Go,
There,
Cass.
there's an issue here of anthropology and translation. Part of the issue that we've been having for the past roughly 1,300 years, ever since the inception of the Catholic Church, is that basically everything that we know of as the Bible is actually a retranslation. The Old Testament, not the New Testament, is actually a retranslation of the Torah. The Torah does not say ridiculous things like 6 days. The word the Torah uses is basically times, ages, epochs. All of those are actually translations of what the Torah says.
Right.
The
That's
problem
right.
is, and I hate to say it, but it all comes down to anti-Semitism. They wanted a way to separate Christianity from Judaism. Okay, and I'm going to stop right there. But I mean, you could write a
Well,
fanfic.
I don't think
You
that's
nailed it.
necessary because, I mean, obviously, translating the Bible in much of it was probably written. A lot of it was oral tradition,
Right.
and then written, and then retranslated, and then you had
And then King
had-
James had his hand
yeah,
on it.
yeah, you had all these gentlemen translating the Bible in the back room of Westminster Abbey for a very, very long time, and printing that version. And so there's a lot of versions, but
And that's how we get Jeebus.
yeah. And it's amazing that it even happened to me. And it's the messages messages stood the test of time, and basically it's not always the golden rule, but that it encompasses that. So I'm kind of rambling here, and I'm not trying to dance around anything, but so we're not alone in the universe.
No, there was a man called Valiant Thor who came to Earth, I believe, in the 50s. And his message was that Christ's sacrifice was felt throughout the universe.
Yes.
And that touched me so deeply because I've always believed that there was life. I couldn't help but believe that there was life outside of what we know here. And I hoped one day, to live long enough to be able to see it.
And prosper?
Live long and prosper.
I had to, sorry.
Mhm.
I'd spoken with other people and had this question that I posed to them, and even the one of the founders of the Westboro Baptist Church, and that is, even though they're probably, Westboro Baptist is probably more set in their ways of Christianity than probably any group of people that I've ever seen, and they're a small group of less than 100 people, a lot of times less than 50 people, but the question I asked was surely why is the universe so huge? Thinking that surely would say to me, oh, it's, what you see out there is not really what, but no, she doesn't know. She doesn't know. Why is the universe so big? If it's so vast, it would seem it would be unmanageable, uncreatable. Kristen, what say you about the size of the universe? It's vast.
I believe in parallel universes. So take what we have and multiply it.
Yeah, it's even bigger.
I believe that there are timelines that are compressing. I believe that we're in a bit of a matrix. I believe that faith will get us through this, but we may not like what we find out.
What do you mean by a matrix? Because obviously there's the movie The Matrix, and people really love The Matrix, and you got Matrix people out there, but there's other definitions of the Matrix. What do you consider the Matrix? A matrix?
Well, if you were to take the image of Horton Hears a Who, and there's a universe inside of our universe. And then if you were to put those side by side, that to me is an idea of the smallest part of our galaxy. And some beings are able, by the speed of light or thought transmission, be here on this earth at this time. And I just have this strong belief that Source talked to the strongest souls and said, "Are you sure?" And we said, "Yes, please, may we try? We want to fight the darkness. We do. And we signed up and we're here."
Cassidy Lightwing. Just jump in anytime. You don't need to raise your hand. I mean, you're so polite. The guy is so polite, Kristen.
It covers up for the lion part. I just wanted to point out that for those of you who want more high definition or high resolution information, we actually have military data on the matrix that she's talking about. Part of the reason we're here is to free and basically break what you guys see around you. Things aren't what they seem.
I mean, there's little doubt that in this vast universe, there are systems and planets and stars that are the size is something that we can't even comprehend, and the detail, the smallness of whatever else is out there that we could never comprehend or even detect is also there.
It's almost like we're a grain of sand shining brightly, but we're surrounded by other grains of sand because we're in an ocean.
When you consider the possibility that, billions of stars in just our solar system, and then trillions and trillions of stars and planets and whatever, celestial bodies, almost anything that you could imagine could perceivably exist out there statistically.
Exactly.
So,
indeed,
why is it so big?
Well, I have another theory on that.
I have an answer to why it's so big, but let me hear yours first.
Well, my grandmother once said, for us to believe that we are the only intelligent life in the universe is sheer vanity. And I believe that this planet is so very special because we incorporate a soul into a body that can taste and touch and feel and see and smell and, all our senses. And there are other alien races out there that don't feel that need. And so even though what we perceive to be incredible amounts of space, maybe it's not. Maybe it is more of when I say a matrix, and Cass will certainly, I'm pretty sure, give you a lot more science on it, but very close to what Neo goes through, except for we are seeing what is being projected to us. It may not be the actual reality, though. And I used to tease and say, gosh, I just wish if this is true, I wish that these two states were closer because then I'd just be able to walk next door and be able to be on the podcast with Cassidy.
Don't wish it could actually happen. We just don't know how to make that happen.
Give it a minute.
We are creators.
Apparently it's easy, but
we are creators.
It actually really is. It really actually is.
Thank you.
Part of the issue that we're having here is that what your physicists think of as space is actually not accurate. And people used to call me crazy. And then now the Japanese or Iranian minister a few months ago said that, well, the aliens told me that. And then, so yeah, what you guys think of as space isn't really space.
Right.
It is vast. It is far more vast than your physicists even guess. But then again, your universe is also far older than your physicists guessed. This
Right.
planet alone is a little bit over 15 billion years, not 5 billion. That gets into element 113 and all that other stuff. But the main thing to realize is that life
113
is,
or 115?
you know me in number. His Kristen helped me.
115.
The element with numbers next to it.
I can't remember
Are
his
you
name now
thinking of?
either. The
Are
guy
you
that got
thinking of?
Cassidy'd.
Bob Lazar?
Yes, Bob Lazar. Thank you. His
We're
element.
not talking about Bob Lazar tonight, but
No. But the I didn't mean to bring up him, but rather the element itself. When
Right.
your scientists start to understand what it does, you'll be able to factor in the way it bends gravity in space, and then you'll get a better picture. It's very close. Your scientists are already understanding that at these smaller, basically the smaller scale you get to, physics changes, and they're also starting to realize it does the same thing as it grows. So a lot of what you guys consider life is it seems empty, but to us, planets are alive, stars are living things. Part of our technology
well,
interacts with them.
that's as living as we are. We're made of the same stuff, man.
Yeah. See,
Starlight.
so what people see is empty space. Anywhere you have a self-recursive energy loop, you have life as we know it. So it's not empty. It is huge and vast, but it is not empty.
So how did we become organized into these shapes instead of, big balls of gaseous celestial bodies with a metal core? We're this
And now we're
just disgusting, sweaty smelling.
spirit inside corporeal form.
It's just bizarre, you know.
Well,
People, we think that we're the normal thing and the standard. I hate it when people think that everything in the universe should be compared to humans, and that's not absolute. It's absolutely it's just strange. I mean, consider what we are, in the universe. We're the exception. Look out there. I mean, there's more. There's more in our solar system. There's way more planets than there are people on the planet. So we're the minority, and our shape and physical stature and nature is just different, so different than anything else in the universe. So what's our purpose? What's our purpose?
it has to do with evolution, believe it or not. If you understand life, all life must reproduce. That's part of it. Okay, we are all, even this body, children of Terra. Okay, now I want to just real quick. Terra is this planet's proper name, like in Mars, Venus, Terra. People tend to think of it as Earth, but that's colloquial. The actual scientific name is Terra. So as all of us are children of Terra. The reason why here we evolved into this weird gangly primate stuff is because of the way the energy moves through the chakra system. Now the chakra system seems to be spiritual mumbo jumbo. It is not. Okay. Again, your physicists are starting to understand this. So essentially what we're seeing before us right now is evolution's fastest, most efficient way to get this energy to move properly. That's why you guys stand upright and rather than like clomping around or whatever. Different planets have different equations, if you will. All right, so we all know that different kinds of atoms produce different effects. Okay,
Right.
so it's not terribly big a leap to understand that large collections of atoms produce different sets of physics, i.e., different solar systems. So on different solar systems, the reason why the evolution into rather frail forms is all about energy efficiency. You see. So no, the rest of the universe isn't going to have humanoids shapes, but you'd be surprised how common it is.
What you said, frail form. I don't. What do you mean by that?
We
Well,
can die.
We can't though.
well, your corpus
It's
can.
just. I mean, everything
Your
in the
corporeal.
universe is constantly changing into something else. I mean, that those are physical
I
laws
agree.
that
We are all made of energy.
apparently cannot be broken. So we're just moving to a different form.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, but when talking to most people about death, it helps to deal with what they understand as mortality, which
we began as star stuff and we become
yes,
star stuff.
yes, that's why our biggest message on this planet is there's nothing to fear, literally nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared to death.
Excuse me, please.
Clover, you're stealing the show, honey.
There we go. But yeah, that's why it's a universal message, and that's one of the reasons why the Pleiadian religion, if you will, works here, there, anywhere. We literally are all one. It's not this whole separation really is an illusion. It seems like spiritual mumbo jumbo until you start exploring the astral planes. At that point, you're kind of looking around going, oh, wow, huh, guess there's more to this than we thought.
Yep. Have you ever had a dream, Cam, where it just seemed so very real and you woke up and you're like, was that real or is that a dream?
Well, I've had some pretty odd things happen that I hope were dreams. And
I get
you know,
that.
I'm talking about, stuff that doesn't happen to the average person or that they actually remember, but for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Cass and I were talking last week, and I was on a show a week ago, Monday, that we were talking about maladaptive daydreaming. And, to me, you have dreams and you have dreams. But there are people who apparently dream all the time, and it's so vivid that every time this happens, that it's a continuation possibly of the same story, or it's hard to separate. Yes, this is a hugely long drawn out answer to your question, but yes, I have. Heck yeah.
Yeah, but
So,
we need to answer questions in high resolution like
but
that.
yeah, I didn't mean to go on and on because this is the show
Okay.
about you. So yes, I have. Tell me, what's on your mind about that, please.
Well, in my theory, and that's all it is, right? In my belief system, when we go into the dream world, we enter into a different state of consciousness, and our soul is free to do those things that we can't do here, but is still in part of our contract, our soul contract. So there are people on this planet that are dream walkers and dream warriors, and they fight that darkness that is holding so many hostage.
Yep.
And I just wondered if ever you felt exhausted when you woke up in the morning, because I just have a funny feeling you might be one of those dream walkers.
Well, that's a good point because I always wonder, I make a joke about this all the time and I blame it on getting old, but um, the joke is, what did I do in my sleep where I wake up and I can't move my right arm, or, I wake up and I have a limp. What is that?
Yeah.
Your sword arm is tired.
That's actually one of the various issues that we've been dealing with. A lot of people who are psychic are coming back from their sleep with like wounds. We even had a broken arm a while ago.
Right?
What happens in the dream world does affect this world. Again, it seems spiritual mumbo jumbo, but then if you think I'm full of it, ask yourself, how do you think they travel 10 billion light years in a minute?
My friend Russ Kellett in the UK is basically fighting wars somewhere else in the universe,
Yeah, I believe you.
in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
So
we work with a lot of dream warriors.
what's
I
up with that?
100% believe you. Well, part of one of the things that we talk about, lucid dreaming. Okay, once you can lucid dream, you have access to a way to change the world around you. These wars that he's fighting, they are metaphors that his mind can understand, but on the energetic level, they're literally happening. And many of you at home, holla if you have these dreams as well. If we all got together and compared, you would see that what we're seeing in these dreams is a literal progression of events that has reflections in the real world. You know,
Yes.
how many of you dream walkers took on Epstein right before all that crap broke? Hmm?
I know nothing.
It's far more real than people think. And not to sound arrogant, but any human that's actually worked with us or received help from us, we did that in dream world. That's the best place to work from.
Hmm.
And I guess it's not ridiculous to agree or assume that the dream world is as physical as what we would call our physical world, only because, you know, what separates the two, what would even be the difference? Because it's just so odd to think about these beings that are they're bopping around on a planet. You know, these beings bopping around a planet made of light waves, and when in fact these humans are made of the same stuff. So
Right. Just
um,
encapsulated.
Just a different frequency.
why wouldn't, you know, memories generated, dreams generated, be a product of that? Because yes, they would obviously be made of the same stuff, the same process, roughly. Um,
Well, most dreams are passive. Basically, your third eye, your pineal gland, sort of observing, the energies around you. It's the ones where you get involved. You know what I mean? That's when you start to push the energy back. And we've tried to talk to this about this multiple times. It is a physical process. It is your literal brain waves, alpha, delta, all those interacting with radiation bands that you can't have your scientists haven't quite discovered yet. So it translates very well to physical action, even if those physical actions don't always make sense.
it's craziness. It's madness. I
It's
can't
Sparta.
explain any of it. Yeah, yeah. So,
It's one of those things.
Kristen? What is a dream?
Oh, a dream is when you're free. Um, I
And who's free? Me?
when your soul is free, your mind is free to explore, and your soul is free from your body. Um, don't ever tug on that silver cord, because that's what connects you to your body. But
But are you ever free though? I mean, obviously, you know,
I,
I like to think that someday. Okay, so let me just explain this. So your senses, your taste, your smell, your things you can feel with your hands, heat and desire and jealousy, and that's a huge amount of baggage, no matter what it is. I mean, it's such what a drag to be hungry. We think, but who here has really been hungry? And we have people around the world who are vastly hungry. Cass has, but um, these emotions that we call emotions and these feelings are, drag us down. They drain our energy. So to me, being free would be free of that. And I'm
Mhm,
wondering what that would be like. Is it just what's left over? There's got to be something left over, some feeling. Is it love?
mhm. Um, have you
Yeah.
ever
I'd like
been
to
out
think
of
so.
body?
Have I ever what?
Been out of your body?
I don't know.
An outer body experience I experienced myself. I had complications with childbirth, and I was dying. And a part of me was like sitting right at the level of the ceiling, looking down at the situation. And my husband at the time sensed some sort of danger, because I was home with our two children. And he put down what he was doing and he came home and immediately called an ambulance. But I had a choice to stay or to go. And I saw this tough man begin to cry, and I chose to stay. But while I was out of my body, I felt no pain. I felt only joy and connection. It's our mind that makes us question our connection to the source. And that's why it is so important for those of us who believe in free will, that we choose to believe in this. That's what is so important, to source is that we freely chose to believe in something we cannot see.
That's the definition of faith.
So if we actually leave our bodies and we are in a different form, our spirit, our soul, is that eternal, or is there another transformation?
There's
Well,
always transformation. Sorry, I'm sorry.
that's okay. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. There's always transformation. I firmly believe that when the clay pot that is our body breaks, we go back, our spirit goes back to source, to God, to whatever, grandfather, grandmother, whatever you want to call it, that which created us. And we are asked all of those things that you just mentioned. Have you seen and tasted and touched and experienced all those things that you can only do in a human form? If the answer is yes, go chill for a while until somebody on earth needs you. If the answer is no, you can be reincarnated. Your soul goes back and you start the journey all over again.
We're not going to be on this planet as humans for eternity, though.
No.
So obviously, we're going to be in our different version, and then what?
Oh, you're talking the different dimensions like 5D and
Well, no, I'm talking about where does our spirit go, our soul go? Where would it go today if it left our body?
back to source.
I'm heaven.
Oh, I see what you're saying. When your body gives out and you're okay, I guess the easiest way for me to say this is I was in the room when my grandfather departed, and he had been dead for about 5 minutes. And then all of the bells went off, and all the whistles went off, and the alarms went off. And to me, that meant that his soul was leaving his body and going wherever it goes. So if you get to a certain point and your soul needs to be purified, I don't think that there is an evil, fiery, dungeon-like jail cell called hell.
It's called
I
Earth.
believe that
I was
there
going to
is
say
more
that.
of a
You stole that.
purification of the soul. And then you come back to Father and you or Mother or Source or whatever you want to call it. And you say, what would you like me to do? And then you get asked those questions. And you do it all over again.
There's no big gate we have to wait at.
Oh, you mean the pearly gates?
Some people see it. It really, there's a great deal of this has a lot to do with your preconceptions as you arrive there. If I may, think of it like this: when you actually die, and this is one of the things that people who have died and come back will also agree. What sort of happens is like an awakening. You sort of like remember how you were a child before. You're still the same person you were as a child, but now you are bigger, not just in
Mhm.
body, but in mind and spirit. You understand more. You comprehend more. The very first thing that happens when you start to come out of the disorientation after death, you see everyone. I mean everyone. First thing you see is the people that hurt you and how you got hurt, but then what as your mind starts to get bigger, you start to realize and you see everything that hurt them. You see
Right,
this trail of pain just going all the way back,
right.
and you start to understand them as they understand themselves. And this is why we say that it's all love, because pain is temporary. The worst thing that will ever happen to you here, it's going to be gone very soon. And what you're left with is this incredible bigness of how good people really want to be. You know, even Hitler started off with good intentions.
He was kind to Eva Brown.
We all screw up.
Yeah, we're not. Let's not throw any good words to Hitler.
No, no, no. I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. When he was a little kid, all babies are born good, that kind of thing.
Baby Hitler, it was good.
Well, Baby Hitler was good in Deadpool too.
Baby Hitler. First time I ever talked about that.
Well, it's part of the
Baby
whole.
Hitler.
It's part of the whole process.
Let's do a Baby Hitler show next week.
Oh, dude, I'll get a diaper.
The big New Year's Eve show of.
Baby shark doo 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 doo.
That's enough of that.
Let's not.
So that's why we say that the universe is love and light is love, is because essentially all of the pain fades and all you're left with is the love that everyone feels for each other
Good.
that's innate.
That's what I want.
You know?
That's what I want.
Because all we are
Yeah.
is memory.
We spend so much time talking about love, singing about love, loving, and yeah, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Love is what I want.
Then I've got very good news for you, broski. Because
I need more love right now.
Well, the next stage is sort of awakening to the omniverse, you know? And this happens to you after you die, before you come back. Now, the omniverse is a very special place. All of this, everything you see, right? Everything, all of this multiverse, everything you can possibly understand is actually just the result of two ribbons of force entangling in a stable wormhole, basically. In the omniverse, there is no separation of identity. It is exhausting. That's why we dip into these little mini-verses. So there's
That's
nothing to fear.
interesting. That's interesting what you just said. We dipped.
Well, yeah.
Dipped.
Yes.
Temporarily dipping.
Yeah. Consciousness merely protrudes into this.
That's interesting to me. That's interesting. Say that again. We're where, and then we dip into this reality.
We all yes, indeed. We all exist as one sort of conscious, like literally all one consciousness. Okay, consciousness.
We are one in the spirit.
Yes, very much so.
Lord.
Yes.
And the collective, I think, is what you're trying to say, right, Cass?
Yes.
We're collective.
Yeah. Like all the different, like people talk about 5D, 9D, whatever. All of these dimensions is just phases of realizing oneness until you get back up into the omniverse. But again, the omniverse is exhausting. It really is. And so basically we dip, we protrude down here for rest, adventure. We separate ourselves specifically.
We're here for rest.
Yes, believe it or not.
Interesting. All right. So it's worse up wherever that we're getting a break right now. Is what you're saying.
Yes and no.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm not digging
yes and
the
no.
hole. It's not. It's exhausting to me. I'm exhausted.
It's like, imagine standing still, like trying to stand still in a storm. That's what the omniverse is like. You're basically exposed to all the primal forces of nature like a raw nerve, you know?
Yeah.
I'm quite frankly, the laughter of a baby, I don't even know, makes up for every pain here, because you don't get that up there.
No, there's good. Yeah. I'm not saying it's all bad here. I'm just saying it's.
No. I'm just saying that
can be taxing.
Because we live in it. Because we live in it, we sort of take it for granted, and sometimes we feel like we are being punished or put upon because we go through stuff that is very difficult, but we make it through it. And when we're victorious like that, the joy that we feel for completing that journey, that sort of makes being here endurable, don't you think, Cass?
In my perception, it's the whole point. I mean, the reason we separate is so we can come back together.
Right?
Why is it so hard to stay on track? We definitely don't. We don't complete our purpose
because
as planned every day and constantly. I mean, we could go in any direction and not all the time. It's not always good, It's not always goodness, love, and that. So we deviate.
Now that's the result of a virus. Basically, your cerebral cortexes get way too much blood. not nearly enough to the hind portions of the brain or the pineal gland. That's part of what we're here to do, is try to fix that. You can blame the Anunnaki for that.
Who's we? Who's trying to fix it?
Lyrans, Pleiadians, Arcturians, the Guardian Council of Light, the Council of Nine. Earth is a pretty big deal, and what your species has gone through. You guys got done in the dirty, and we're
Yeah.
trying to fix that.
Good luck.
Thank you.
It's a never-ending battle.
Hey,
Yes, it
there's a
is.
reason they sent a geneticist, guys.
Yes,
No,
it
we're
is.
working on it. We're working on that. There has been a number of attempts from other of the alien races to add to that, and that's where you get magic mushrooms. A great many of your own scientists have suspected that the consciousness altering mushrooms are actually some form of technology that's basically here to foster communication and bing, 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 bing.
And until we can figure it out, we can just have some fun along the way.
Right. But I don't. I personally do not recommend that, and that's because of my dad. I gotta.
I wouldn't. You won't see me doing that.
Me neither. I tried DMT once under the administration of a professional, and what I found is that essentially DMT, mushrooms, acid, none of these things can do anything for you you can't do for yourself with meditation.
Right.
I got there and the machine elves were like, "Dude, what do you think you're doing?" I'm like, I want help. I want to be healthy in my head again." And they're like, all right, go, sit back, and then they basically did a form of surgery. And quite frankly, those of you who've been watching the show, you saw the night and day difference.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Cass, what was that? What was that picture that you held up when we first started?
Oh, this is a painting
Quick.
that Shar did, or sorry, Kristen did for Shar.
Uh-huh.
This is one of Kristen's paintings.
And it's, what is that, Kristen?
It's Shar and the Fireflies. I visualize Shar being healed, healthy, recovered without needing her life device. So I put her in a field full of fireflies and she's chasing after them. And that's when she's a little older and she's playing the violin. And it's early in the morning and the deer's just so happy to hear her play. He's just chilling in the grass.
And this is after she gets her new heart.
Yep.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Kristen, what is your purpose here? Why? Obviously, you've come a long ways, baby. What's up?
Well, I used to wonder about that because prior to 1990, my mission was to blend in, was to entertain, to love on people, even when they probably weren't sure what my motives were. I, just tried to be a friend with no strings. And then mid 90s, early 2000s, things started to change a little and people started talking about alien abductions and different planets and where they were from and all this sort of other things. And more resonated inside of me that the thing that I'm here to do is just to inspire people not to be afraid. And during this time of uncertainty, especially, to just find those things that bring you joy and to find your faith no matter what your higher power is. As we say on the show, it could be a plate of spaghetti. As long as it means something to you, it's valid,
That's for you atheists.
right? It's valid because that's what you believe in.
The spaghetti?
A plate of spaghetti. Yeah, we call that the great spaghetti god. Is that right?
No. The atheists actually have an official thing. I suspect it's a form of protest, but I don't understand humans that well. But they claim to worship a giant flying spaghetti monster who brought mankind into existence with his noodly appendage.
And that's the Pastafarians.
Yeah.
Yes.
and that actually brings up a point. I didn't want to interrupt the flow, but if we could just for a second talk about the Westboro Baptists. Now, people who watching this from Russia, they're expecting Cass to go off, and Cass ain't going to go off. One of the things
I'll
that I
go
want,
off.
well, you're welcome
Go
to,
ahead.
but this is a point. One of the reasons why, one of our pieces of evidence that we're not messing around, is that we can talk to and reach any religious group. We have literally turned Muslims off of the point of off of the ledge of jihad. We can literally speak to any spiritual group. I mean, I myself am a Lakota shaman. You know, my natural tribe is Shawnee. The Lakota adopted me. For those of you who are looking for stuff to stick me on,
God bless them.
right?
Where would you be without them?
Lost.
Mhm.
I
Lost her.
was yes, lost her. That's a lost her. I'm gonna have an extra I will be lost her.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm
I
not
like
very good
I
at
like
this
this
human
guy,
stuff.
so I just
Wendeaho.
Now, the day that the Lakota accepted me back into the tribe, there's a whole big thing there. But that was the day my life started to come back together. You know, I was lost,
hmm.
so lost, Kristen.
Yeah, that's one of the names of my songs. So,
So so we could talk to a member of the Westboro Baptist. We'd probably butt heads, absolutely. But the message that we have, that the Star people have, to put it in Native American terms, it's universal. It is for
mhm,
every mitochondrial cell on this planet equally, and that's why the governments don't mess with us. We are not going to. Nothing we do will interrupt your guys' social order. That's for you. You see, and that's why the United States government is trying to save my daughter, because they know what we're
mhm.
here for, and they approve.
Westboro Baptists do they consider themselves fundamentalists?
Westboro Baptists consider themselves and nothing else matters. So
Mm.
they
They are
this
Oh,
is
they
Baptists.
are
my
anti.
impression of them at first was, oh, this is genius. I mean, what a way to spread the word that they want to spread by being a bunch of a-holes, essentially. And no, they're a bunch of a-holes. And nobody else matters. Everybody, is essentially burning in hell unless you adopt and live, with
Yeah.
them and live the way they do.
Mhm.
Um, Shirley Phelps Roper, is the daughter of the founder. Um, it's crazy because they have a bunch of she's an attorney and her dad was an attorney, and they're all attorneys, so really tough to fight those people and what they do. Not that you should, just because I mean they just leave them alone and let them go away and let them kind of melt in their own world. But and they could stand and protest whatever they want on any corner in America, and so what? We're above and beyond that. But I talked to her first, and then I talked to her son, and unfortunately, he's a great guy, but he left that, and I feel that he feels he's incomplete and he's struggling.
Well,
It's too
yeah,
bad.
because living in such a black and white world,
Mhm.
there's no gray in those extremes. And my question to those people that are so judgmental is, well, Source created all of us. Who are you to judge?
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
we're all a little bit judgmental, though.
Oh
Some are
yeah,
just
yeah.
more than most, and that's to the extreme side of that. But
mhm,
there's always that, and it looks way different. We have a lot of people right now within our borders of our state and our country who are as judgmental or even more. We just label them differently, and we've tolerated them a lot longer than the people of Westboro. So you know um, we just kind of let that slide, for some reason. And
mhm.
some, maybe some cranky old people in your community that you're like, you said what? And we just, well, he's old, and or she's old, and they have always been that way. but
Mhm. When
extremely
do
opinionated, and yeah, they're
Luckily,
we should ignore that
but
the
luckily,
Westboro Baptist people too.
we can't. That's the thing. We can't ignore anyone. That's it's all part of the mission. But
No, we
luckily,
can't.
we came here very much equipped. It's easier. It's actually a lot easier for people like us to talk to fundamentalists because, quite frankly, they know that we're what we're here to do. And if, quite frankly, if they don't, we can just cure a cancer or something. Then the biggest problem is come convincing them that we're not a manifestation of Jesus. But something I wanted to say to the people listening, fundamental Christians actually have a name for us. It's called Chayot Chahodesh, and commonly known as the four living creatures. The trick isn't convincing them that we are one of these beings. The trick is convincing them that we're not. Trust me.
it's just easier to label, you know?
It is.
Well, we don't feel comfortable with things we don't understand. So even if we don't understand them, we toss a little bit of understanding at that, or a little ignorance, and in under
Yeah,
the veil of understanding, and we bullshit our way through life.
exactly. But that's why
So
it's easier to work backwards. When you get them laughing with
guilty.
you,
We're
you know,
guilty. We're guilty, but we're not perfect. So please understand that we're not perfect and give people a break.
Right?
right?
Look at the world
We all
with
messed
soft
up.
eyes.
Give me a break.
Look at the world with soft eyes.
I want to
But
mention again, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Kristen, but My Alien Life you're listening to is a podcast for those who have a story to tell. And again, in my short span of time, I would like to get to as many people as I can and tell their story. I also want to talk just a second about Patreon. I do have a Patreon page, and you can check that out in the podcast notes. Just click on that. I always need help. This isn't an easy thing to do. Um, my
Expensive.
whole yeah my whole process is built on convenience. It's not built on comfort. So convenience to me is kind of following the same process that I've been doing a long time. Last week, I talked about being in the radio business for 40 years, and part of that was doing things that I've been doing the way I've been doing it for a very, very long time. So I've been a Mac computer guy for a very, very long time. And convenience means that I can sit down and talk to fine people who are sitting here in front of me, and get the show on and get it on the all the platforms on the internet quickly, the same night. It means that if I do just an audio podcast, I can record it on Wednesday night, and have it on every platform an hour later. So that's the convenience part. There's no reason that anybody should struggle and try to put a show like this together and spend all their time doing it. I remember back quite a few years ago, or a couple years ago, that there's a couple of shows that I did, and it took me. It was like 7 hours, and I was like, this is maddening. There was a couple shows that were well worth it that I did were 7 hours, but one of the things that I'd really like to do is, I have this taped interviews with BJ Evans, and I want to get that on and finish it and fix it. And I'm gonna have to devote 20 hours to that, and that won't be easy to do. And it does nothing to do with putting it all in GarageBand and editing. It's trying to remember, what I had, and how I'm going to come up with a decent show, and I have to do that with GarageBand, and there's no other way. It'll never be heard if I don't. So I'm please asking for your help. Go to my Patreon page. Again, it's an online tip jar, and this is your show. And if you don't believe it, you can be on next Wednesday, and you can talk to us, and maybe you have $500 that you could toss in as well, if you're a non-believer. What you hear on this show, and essentially, it's not about believing anything. It's just about hearing what people are talking about. And again, I'd like to thank Kristen for being here. Um, I'm not letting her go yet. I'm just saying thank you for being here, because obviously none of us are getting paid for this, and we have a message and we have a story to tell, and this is the way we do it. So thank
Mhm.
you both for being here.
Well,
Um,
thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
where are we going next? Cass, do you have a question for Kristen? While I
Oh, I
collect my
have
thoughts
lots.
after that diatribe, thank you very much.
So, Kristen, if that is indeed your name, what do you bird lizards think you're doing here?
Yeah, there's that.
Trying to enlighten these people, trying to remind them how powerful they are, how kind they can be, how warlike they do not need to be.
And
And you, Sir Liren?
I don't know what I'm doing here. I've been trying to figure that out. I'm supposed to be a star seed, all right? This is like not understanding how to be human. Stuff's got to
Obviously,
go.
you're two communities that are on different ends of the universe, sort of, are on talking terms.
Oh no,
Why
no,
And
is
yet
that?
we are polar opposites,
but
and yet we
very
can get
loving.
along beautifully.
Polar opposites, but speaking, and obviously there's peace there.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
more than
Why
peace.
is that? Why I don't, I just don't, I don't exactly. I mean, you Cass, as well, as explained to me sort of that there's not always peace in the universe outside this planetary system,
Well, it helps that the Pleiadians
star
are,
system.
yeah. Well, no, agreed. But it helps that the Pleiadians are a particularly enlightened biological race, and the blue being entities, we are creatures of harmony. This is what we do. We can harmonize with anyone, and we taught the Lyrans that, and same thing. So Lyrans tend to be pretty laid back with different with people that are different, and quite frankly, it doesn't get a whole lot more different than Lyrans and Pleiadians, you know. And then, of course, here on Earth, there's the whole cats eat birds jokes that we can do. There's always something to laugh about. There's
Very
always a song to
Yes, they
sing.
do.
Yeah. So, one of the things that we worked out is the whole bird lizard thing. And I'm not talking to me and Kristen. I'm talking about our peoples. Outside of this, the attempt to make contact is active. So what our peoples decided is to make fun of it. You know,
Mhm.
especially since there's a lot of fear of reptilian ET races right now. And I'm sorry to say this, guys, but the Pleiadians are a reptilian race, partially. They're Reptavians, hence the bird lizard comment.
Sherry.
Indeed.
So you remember that scene in Star Wars where they were in that pub and the music is playing and we have all these different aliens wandering around?
I'm
That's
trying not
interesting
to
to
sing the
me,
song.
is because you can hear it though, can't you? You
Yes,
can
I
hear
can.
that. That's pretty cool. I mean, I saw that when I was 12. You both were probably really much smaller then. Cass probably wasn't around at the time.
Nope.
But
I saw it when I was 13.
really? So we're about the same age.
I think
Oh
so. I'm
no.
going to be, my
Go.
next birthday, I'll be 59.
Oh,
My
nice.
mom was almost pregnant with me when she saw it.
Yeah. Um okay, so my point was, you saw all those different creatures. To me, it's, why don't we see that? Why isn't why aren't these races just represented everywhere and just wandering all around us at all times?
That has to do with the imprisonment matrix. That's
And
particularly why we were on mission.
Because we're a prison planet, or are you referring to something else?
well,
No, this planet. Sorry, I get a little urgent here. Terra, the true Terra, the actual like real life, planet that's out there. Sometimes people catch pictures of it in the sky. It's actually quite terrifying for humans. They are under attack. Okay, that's why it always comes down to the Animite. Whatever Lazar calls it, I don't care. We call it Animite. It all boils down to Animite. You are never to harvest Animite from a living planet. The Dracos don't care. So your planet is being harvested. That's one of the reasons why you're getting these massive earthquakes down in the mantle where earthquakes shouldn't even happen because it's liquid, but there's earthquakes anyway. It just it the situation is very dire actually. But yeah, so because of that matrix, people tend to see what they expect. So oftentimes you'll see somebody, and you like your mind will tell you you're not looking at them right. Like something is weird, something fuzzy. We call that effect the veil. It causes everyone to look the same race. And this is why we are trying to get attention from doctors so we can prove that under the skin it ain't real. Under the skin, this is an illusion. But it all has to do with a phenomenon called the veil.
The veil.
But yeah, they're actually out there. The Black Knight satellite, specific the 3 Black Knight satellites. That's a perfect example. You guys don't have any kind of
You
translation for
talking
their
about
form of life.
that insulation blanket that's floating out in space? Is that
Not
what
the
you're
insulation blanket.
say that again? I didn't hear that.
Not the insulation blanket.
Okay.
No, I'm talking about the creature that actually comes down and, like, for example, the Dogon know all about it. The Black Knight satellite, what you guys call it, the satellite is actually a being. I call them Jovali just because I'm a writer, but they don't have a name. There's like nothing. They're a completely radically different form of life. So your minds don't have a veil representation of it. So you see it like it is, basically a big old bundle of steel wool, you know?
Hmm.
So
Intelligent metal.
yeah, we're not talking about the blankets. There are some of those that like NASA has released, and it's a picture of a blanket. Oh, this is really the blanket. We're talking about the actual satellite that whenever the Air Force gets close, it zips away. Floating thermal blankets don't do that.
No. And it has been documented for many years. Isn't it
Yeah.
over 3,000?
They claim there are anthropological representations of the Black Knight satellite. However, good science dictates we have to double check and make sure these cultures are actually talking about the same object, or if they're not trying to jump on the ancient aliens bandwagon.
Mm.
Good science is always the best. Good
Right?
science will free us all.
It is. We have some catching up to do.
Sort of. You guys got the method. That's the important part.
Well,
The
the
method,
method is there for sure.
yeah. Well, the
Why
method
do you
frees the
think
mind.
Yeah.
You
why do
know,
you think there's so many distractions? Because we're so close.
Why is there so many distractions?
Mm.
the enemy can't have 7 billion angry gods running around.
I mean, it's we can't. So, yeah, we can't do the same thing. We can't hold the pattern for very long. I mean, it's look at our short reign here, just as sort of modern man for the last 50 years and how things have changed. Um, I have never seen so much change for people who can't handle change.
Yeah.
And that scares me to death because wow. Wow. Um, of course, when I was a kid, grandpa worried about what society would be like with people like me, running wild in their 50s and trying to maintain some sort of society. But I look ahead, and I have some definite worries and definite concerns. But then again, apparently, and certainly, we are not meant to be here forever. We are on a non-sustaining plan. Is that true? I don't like the sound of it. I don't like,
Well,
and I'm not
if
talking
we
about a sun burning out. I'm talking about we
if
burning
we stay on the
ourselves out.
current path, yes, I would agree with you. But if we go back to uh, first people's ways, if we don't need as much technology, if we don't need as much this, that, and 500 other things, and we go back to the land and we start to sing again, you know.
Put the
to
fig
the
leaf
lakes.
back on.
No, but sing to the lakes and the
I'd like
sky,
that.
you know.
Yeah.
A much
Fake
more
Newtons.
simplistic life has always reduced stress. So
It is.
it really depends on, you know, what we choose in our futures.
The thing I crave the most is simplicity, for sure.
And
For sure.
peace.
And I love the thought of, you know, open rooms with the house with no furniture, just something nice to look at. Um, yeah, yeah. Simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
It's closer than humans think, really.
Well,
Do you think
geologically
that's
speaking, yes. But
Oh no, no, I mean like it's entirely possible you could see like your Star Trek future in this lifetime. It's that close. Humans are literally only 2 steps away.
we got the mobile phones?
I would love a phaser right now.
Unstun on me.
Mine would never be on. Well, now I'd be on stun from time to time. I'd be very selective in who I stunned and who I didn't stun, but um, it's. Go ahead, Cassidy. Lightwing.
Oh, I am trying not to talk about the naughty gun.
Wrong show.
Yeah. One of the more common energy weapons that's in use in your own militaries are starting to figure out is how to induce, how should we say, an explosive bout of uncontrollable pleasure rather than pain.
Laughter is better than crying.
I'm on board.
Yeah, non-lethal combat methods are starting to be explored. I mean, the news wants everybody to be terrified, but the reason why they want everything to be terrified is because they have lost control. And we're about to start taking our world back as citizens. And this includes everybody: visitors, star seeds, flying spaghetti, whatever.
Some kind of orgasmic paralysis on the battlefield.
Yes, I'm not joking. We're all giggling but
Or
no.
over.
Brad, Janet, Rocky.
I don't have. Actually, no, it wouldn't be war over. Let's try that again.
No, it wouldn't be war over, but it would be a lot more gentle.
Let's stop. Let's not stop.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Now, a lot of things that seem a lot of things that we titter at as a society are going to have to start being embraced as just a natural part of life. You know, Queen Victoria died 100 years ago. Can we get over her morals now? You know, I mean, we see that in politics. Like I said, they have lost control, and so they want you guys to be afraid. But there's nothing to be afraid of. You know, don't pay attention to the news. Look at things like check out like I effing love science, carbon reclamation,
That's a
medical
good one.
technology. You know, there is 1,000 reasons to know that a very good future is right around the corner. But we're probably going to
Replicated.
have to fight for it. And I don't mean physical fight. We Lyran's eschew drawing blood. There's always a peaceful solution.
Kristen, do you think you're going to meet up with your homies ever again?
You know, I have met people that I believe have similar lineage. Some of the things they randomly say, I'm like, well, you're not from here. But I say nothing and I just wait for them to say, you know, you remind me of, and then I'm like, maybe we're from the same place. So in daily life, since I have met Cassidy, I have met 3 of what I would call celestial siblings. And it's just a resonation in my own soul. Like I recognize them from somewhere, but we have similar beliefs. And they are in different parts of the world.
I do have to say the methods we have developed, the scientific methods we have developed to filter out the crazies and fakers is they're pretty good.
Who's we?
The team, myself, the team I work with. I'm not here by myself. I mean, there's literally thousands of others in what you might call ground
Right.
crew, but then there's also what you might call sky crew, and that's the people that your psychics and whatnot see in their dreams and their channelings is what you might call sky crew. This is a very large group effort. Now, I'm not smart enough to come up with this entire plan myself. I
Mm.
can barely pay attention, you know. So it's a like I said, it's a team effort. Multiple species, multiple planets, multiple cultures, and that's why we just that's why I just call us the tribe of light because there's no one name that would satisfy anybody. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But a lot of the things that we're putting into practice here were developed out there as an attempt to make contact. For example, the way we talk to, you know, various cultures and religions. You know, you could call it the rainbow connection. It is a technology that I'm employing while I'm speaking. You know, hyperspatial technology. It, you know, it. Okay, you spacefold, right? Wormhole. Imagine a wormhole between two separate ideas, not 2 points in space, and that's what the rainbow connection is. You see? So the trick is teaching humans your natural technology is this consciousness technology. I think we all agree. We all know the story of the Anunnaki. All right, bam. So ultimately, the thing is, it don't matter. It is how do we get back to that point today? Your species is still fully capable of utilizing 5D, 6D technology, what you might call magic, but it's not magic. You know what I mean? It looks like magic to a primitive primate, but it's not. But you guys can do it, and that's why this is a multi-prong attack. It's an attack on, if you will, the spirit of ignorance.
Mhm. Well, imagine how modern day human would look to a caveman when he flipped a big lighter or a Zippo. It'd be like, oh,
Right.
you're a god. No, I just have different technology. And that's what it sounds like. If I could encapsulate what my understanding of your people is that you are all about technology and we're more like betazoids, we're all about emotion.
We're
What's
more
a
like cartoon
betazoid?
characters.
Betazoid? Is that a thing?
Star
Oh,
Trek.
from Star Trek?
Oh, 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 oh.
Deanna Troy is very
Yeah,
emotional.
yeah,
She
yeah, yeah.
feels everything.
Yeah, I'm no Star Trek expert, but
Maybe
I
we should have
understand.
to use Star Wars in her terms.
It's understandably important.
Indeed. So the thing, what I need to express the most here is what we keep hearing consistently, like 100% of the time. Once we've successfully taught a human to interact with and utilize this technology, they very often go on to careers in quantum healing or Reiki. But the thing that they universally say is, "No, I remember this," and that's what
Yeah,
that's exactly the point. We don't teach it. We help you remember your own technology. It's one of the reasons
right?
why we won't charge. You know,
We just jog your memory.
yeah. But that replication of the science is exactly our biggest piece of evidence to share with humanity. The fact that this science and technology can be replicated anywhere in the world by anybody using the same methods. From there, I believe we have a common ground on actually fixing this world before it's too late. And by the way, I don't mean world as in planet, I mean world as in your people.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the people are broken. I mean, obviously we saw what it looked like during the beginning of COVID, the first year when everybody in Beijing kind of went into hiding, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden the air became breathable again, and animals were coming out in the cities, and it things changed quickly. The Earth overtakes humans every time, and always will, quickly.
And thank God for that.
Quickly. We're fairly I mean, as far as the planet is concerned, we're meaningless, except for the fact that we've caused so many problems, and it is our job to fix that if we want to stay.
If I may, I'm going to disagree with you guys. Your species is not meaningless to the planet. You actually have a place in the biome. You literally have
Well,
a
I'm sure
niche
we
in there.
wouldn't be here if that we wouldn't be here. Of course we do.
Yeah, mother is love.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, it's tough to we want so much, and in order to get everything we want, there's a great price to pay. Um, so there's the fight there. Although, things do look different. I mean, yes, we do want very, very much, but I always bring up this little factoid about um, aliens looking down on us and can't figure out why we've accumulated so much stuff, and that it's so insignificant, so unimportant. But I can see now. It was funny because I hate to tell the story about this guy, and I've never told it before, but um, to my little town, this really, really crabby guy moved in, and he built this beautiful watch store. And I did not wear a watch, and he sold watches that ranged from $250 to $20,000. And in
Whoa.
my mind, I was like, who in the hell needs a watch that bad that they're going to come to our little town? He was here, and he got crabbier and crabbier. He had this beautiful shop in this kind of little, it wasn't really a mall, just this beautiful building, rock building and wood building, had a restaurant in there. And, I watched in fascination as people would walk by and nobody would walk in. And he knew how to repair these expensive watches. And then, of course, what came next was the cell phone. And of course,
Oh,
nobody who buys watches now, not many. And he sort of disappeared into wherever a guy like that disappears to. I felt bad about it. I think it was very unfortunate. It was very poor timing. But I can see us going, you know, we don't have tape recorders. We have headphones. We have phones, and people maybe are using, their material goods and things that are super super important to them, like it doesn't matter like what, but it's we have less and less stuff, maybe because we rely so much on this electronic device. Um, where does that take us? I mean, it changes. It's a game changer.
I don't know.
It's a game changer, though.
Libraries
Look what we're
and
doing right now. I mean, this is
libraries
crazy.
libraries are not full of books anymore. You just access it on the computer.
Exactly. And I don't know if we access that as much as we should. I got to say, I don't read much.
There's a phenomenon amongst humans that is being taken advantage of here, and it's a side effect of having a large number. When humans see a problem, if there's no one else around, almost any you pick any human off the street, and if they see a problem and there's no one else around to help, they will rise. But if there's other people around, no one helps. Like literally, the person doesn't get help. This is what they've done with the interconnectivity. I'm not saying that the internet is bad, but the interconnectivity and the ease at which they've given you guys information has devalued both the connection and the information.
Right.
Mm.
We don't know how to fix that. We've never seen this before. Besides which, even if we did know how to fix it, it ain't our job. We can help, but you guys got to do it. If you want to be
Kristen,
disconnected, keep going.
Kristen, have you been able to experience firsthand any other extraterrestrials other than my man here?
Uh,
I mean,
Yes,
I asked if
actually,
you can notice them or see them, but have you ever
yeah.
had a chance to connect with one?
It would have been. I'm trying to think of exactly what year. I would have been about 8 years old, so I would have been about 1971. And I believe that there were gray entities outside my window. And I had never seen anything like it. I thought, it was neighborhood kids or something. I just wasn't sure. And I saw something that looked angelic. I mean, it was a tall, Nordic looking lady that looked like an angel to me. And she showed me something to do with my hands. And those gray entities just went away. And it wasn't until very, very recently, because I was a child and I kind of forgot about it, but I saw Cass make a motion with his hand, and I asked him specifically about that, what she had showed me. And he said it basically translated to a perception filter. So I felt so flattered and so honored and so protected. Um, thinking back, I was terrified. But then I saw this angel and I just didn't need to worry anymore. And later I found out that what I believe I saw was something called a tall white. And they are Nordic in appearance. They are light skinned, light haired, and they are very, very, very old, but very kind.
One of the good ones.
Oh, yeah.
And there are bad ones.
But on our show, we've talked about the possibility of genetic markers. And my name before marriage was Rollison. And my great great grandfather times like 70 was Rollo the Viking. And he married Papa de Bayou. And Papa de Bayou could trace her lineage to Charlemagne. Charlemagne could trace his lineage to Adam. So it's fascinating to me that we carry these genetics with us, and maybe now is the time for them to activate.
Recessively, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that's why we say that it has a lot more to do with old Indian stories than UFOs. The indigenous around the world are completely aware of the transmission gene that allows us to interact here, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I prefer company with them. They don't care. You're like, hey, I'm actually a leader. And they're like, yeah, so's Bob. Shut up. Shut up and row your boat. They don't
Give
care where you're
me
from. They care who you are, you know?
and some fish.
Yeah.
What about it? Genetic information, DNA. Um, Obviously, we're born with things, and we could have four kids, and they're all brown haired, and except one is blonde,
Mm-hmm.
blue eyed instead of brown, and that came from somebody a generation or more ago.
Right.
What about genetic material in our bodies that there are animals that under specific environmental conditions that they change, and that genetic material is activated and there's changes. Um, for either of you, do we have anything as human beings? Do human beings have anything like that that would
Yes.
allow us some sort of quick change that we have not seen or haven't identified yet?
The answer is yes, and actually, you have identified it. There have been a number of individuals who have modified their own genetic structure in the moment. Humans have the ability. Part of your what's in that 24th junk chromosome, right? It's not junk. What that code is code that gives you command over the rest of your genetic code. And the reason why this is possible is because the molecules that make up DNA are pretty much one like click away from being crystalline. So I used to say that and people thought I was insane. And then, Stanley's Superhumans came out and he found people that had changed their genes on the fly, like the Monkey Man. And just, I think it was last year, your biologist announced that yes, humans do have the ability to change their DNA. It's not like a reflex. It's something you have to relearn, you know. So 40 years of being called crazy, and who turned out to be right?
You're a
Humans.
little crazy still.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I am a fruit bat. All
No,
right.
you keep doing what you're doing because it's working.
Yeah. No. See, that's the issue. Well, that's why Shar is so special. Okay, Shar is the first human being that your government has been able to study without some form of head injury or mental uh, mm, mm, peculiarity. I got both, so they can't study my gene, but they can study Shar. You know. Oh yeah, dude, people have crushed my skull in, and I have been, yeah, violent life. Let's just leave it at that. It's been a long road getting here, and I've picked up a few quirks on the end, but at least they're funny.
Big bada boom.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Almost spit coffee that time.
You're drinking coffee at almost 9:30 p.m. Decaf?
Nope.
Oh.
No, I'm tired, and plus I got to keep the gut moving. It's
Me
all
too.
bad.
Me too. Yeah, we need to wind our way down because um obviously humans have a short attention span. I don't want to push that any further than possible. Even though I have heard that people love these long shows and especially there are some of my listeners out there, the longer the better. I know there are podcasts out there that are, can start out being an hour and go to 4 hours, but we're not going to do that tonight. But
Thank you.
it's been nice meeting you, Kristen.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. And I've seen you, but I've kind of often wondered what you two talk about. And I try to check in from
Mostly
time to
the
time.
mission.
But, those folks have a show on Monday through Sunday, Monday through Monday. How do you is it? Yeah. Take the weekend off, man. Take the
Yeah.
weekend off. But
Well,
we're going to try to do this on Wednesdays. And again, throw out that reminder that I have a Patreon page, and please help me out, help the show out. I don't know if I ever will do 2 or more shows again, but I do like, this is fun. I find I have a lot more energy for video, and not so much because it's video, because I can actually see these people that I'm talking to, and gives me a little bit of you get some emotional feedback bouncing around, and it's better for the creative process.
Right? You're not just talking to air.
Right.
yeah.
Right. So, Kristen, I didn't ask you this. Are you an active minister right now, or do you have a church, or?
I am an ordained minister.
Yeah.
I have people that are similar minded that I speak with daily. As far as having a church, that's something in the future that we're thinking about. But the message is so basic and so simple, you know, and that is just to love with all your mind, soul, body, heart, and spirit, and to love your neighbor, you know. And if you can do those things, you're not going to be causing wars and troubles and disputes and legal battles and, all that stuff. So it's a very old message, but golly, it worked in the past. And in the future, who knows? We might need a very simple faith based religion. I'm hearing some music in the background. It's very cool sounding.
That's yeah. That's because you're leaving us with this final thought.
Aw.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to encourage everyone to keep on hoping. Hope is what's going to get us through this. Don't lose your faith. Stick with those things that bring you joy. Find those people that maybe you haven't talked to in a while and just reconnect. And pretty soon it'll get a lot easier.
I'm hoping it's going to get a lot easier. And Cassidy Lightwing, Kristen, thank you so much. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Cameron Logan. The website is www.myalienlifepodcast.com. We don't always talk about aliens. Tonight, we didn't just brush upon religion. We dove in and talked about our condition in the universe. And there's definitely more questions that we came up with rather than answers, which is ideal for what we do. Again, Cassidy, Kristen, thank you so much. We'll talk again soon. I'm Cameron Logan. Can you put our graphic back up there, Cass? Thank you for joining us tonight on My Alien Life, the podcast. And good night, both of you.